Hey everyone, happy Monday on a Tuesday. Yes, we are
Great start. Great
trying not.
start.
No, because we're normally here on Mondays, and so it's anytime we do a show, it's just a Monday, even if it's on a Tuesday.
It's always Monday
Uh,
somewhere.
yeah, I was a little occupied yesterday, as was Andy. Carly is still occupied today. She will hopefully be back with us soon. But she is traveling home from an event at Walt Disney World, which I got to hang out with her at, and I'm sure we'll chat a little bit about that at the top of the show. But thank you so much for Andy for coming back and stepping. I guess you must have done okay the last time because we're letting you come back.
They don't know I'm here. Don't tell them.
I'm flipping our picture side so I can try to make eye contact with you on my camera. It's so because I have the ultra wide screen monitor, so when I'm trying to make eye contact, if I look at myself, then I look like I'm a crazy person looking off to the side. It's very confusing. So we're going to, before we jump into the show, say hi to some of our friends in the chat. And as always, first in is Michael Bingham,
What's up, buddy?
welcoming everyone. It's going to be a fun Tuesday. Thank you for being here. Blossom and Michelangelo saying hello from Derek Ho's Corner. Welcome back. And we've got some folk on a cruise ship right now. Congratulations, but that internet access on the cruise ship adds up fast. So unless you've already paid for an unlimited plan, please turn us off and go watch us when you're back on shore.
And I hope you're somewhere safe. There's something barreling through the Caribbean right
Oh
now.
yeah.
You
We
will.
barreling. Very good.
Yeah.
That's an excellent. Yeah. I think like the earliest, strongest hurricane that we've had, and really going in a weird direction. Like it hit some islands on the windward side, which I don't think it's supposed to be able to do. And yeah, it's frogs and locusts and
So it has begun.
yeah. So Carly is not here this week. Thank you for asking. She is just fine, but she is traveling home from Walt Disney World, where she and I were at a press event yesterday, which we'll chat about in just a little bit. But we've got a whole bunch of folks in the chat, and we've got a bunch of viewers. So what do you say we kick this thing off? As soon as I can find the video
Let's just vamp over here.
vamp in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and MEI-Travel. I'm Seth.
And I'm Andy.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And welcome back, Andy. Thank you again for substituting for Carly. She is traveling home from a press event that the two of us just attended together, which I'll probably chat about in just a second. But I want to thank you for pinch hitting again. How have you been and what have you been up to?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me back. I took a non-themed entertainment a vacation last week.
What? Wait,
Yeah,
a non-theme park vacation? Do those exist?
What do you even do? I don't even know. Went out to Siesta Key.
That is my favorite place on earth. Got married there.
Oh,
honeymoon there. It's gorgeous. What is your favorite spot on Siesta Key? There's so many wonderful.
This was my first time out there with a girlfriend and her family. They rented a house, and
oh, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I just went down to the beach. I spent so much time on the Atlantic side. I forget the Gulf is warm.
Yes,
it's an ocean that's not uncomfortable to climb into.
And that has been named the best beach in the world many times for the quality of the sand. It is just perfect white powder sand. Amazing clarity. I'm glad you had a good time.
It was great. It was chill, and checked out the daiquiri deck and had to make sure I get one or two of those.
Siesta Key Oyster Bar Next time you're back there, they have the best
I
happy
did see
hour
it. I
oysters.
thought about that. Yeah.
Phenomenal. There are a lot of great restaurants. Shout out to the Lobster Pot. We eat there once a year for our anniversary.
She's allergic to shellfish, so it's got to
What
be
are you gonna do?
just a
What are you
meat
gonna?
trip, I
Yeah,
guess.
I guess you are not.
Sorry, honey. You hang on the beach.
I'm glad you guys got a little break and had a good time. I I did not get away from the theme parks, and I did not have a break. It has been a very busy week on all fronts. First of all, I know I've talked before about the Fringe Festival. Me and my wife are very involved in the Fringe Festival. It was a tough week for the Fringe Festival. It made international news this week, so I don't want to get into it, but. If you want to support the arts in Florida, especially the arts that help support the artists who also create the entertainment in your theme parks, a lot of the actors, the writers, the directors probably wouldn't stick around in Orlando if they didn't have the Fringe Festival and other community theater as an outlet, because it is not very satisfying necessarily if you're a creative person. Just working in the theme parks, and it's also not very lucrative. A lot of people
recharge that battery.
Yeah, a lot of people honestly stick around in this town for the opportunities to be creative outside of the theme parks,
I used
and
to,
that feeds back into the theme parks too.
Yeah, well, I would say because I was a technician at Disney for years and years and years, and I got to the point where it's like I could do Finding Nemo the musical at this point. Having seen it a couple thousand times without hyperbole.
Sure.
And then you see those actors again, like outside in the real world. You're like, oh, that's why you got that part. You're incredible. Like,
yes,
you're an amazing dancer, performer, singer.
And it is it is absolutely cool because you can go in and see someone perform in Finding Nemo and go the next night and see them doing Shakespeare or doing opera,
improv,
or improv. Exactly. And if you like the new shows at DreamWorks or the new the Cinesational Fountain show, people who worked on there, they cut their teeth doing low budget independent community theater and Fringe Festival stuff. And it's like a really important training ground. We don't subsidize like education in the arts nearly as much as we probably should in this town. And people honestly they subsidize it by getting paid very poor wages compared to what people who are doing the exact same job out in California get paid. So if you want there to still be creativity and art and magic in Florida, support your local Fringe Festival. So
100%.
100%. But on top of that, we had some exciting things happen in town. We've talked way too much about Tiana's Bayou Adventure over the last few weeks.
What's that?
But it did officially open, grand open, official open, public debut this past weekend at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. I made my annual pass holder park reservation way in advance so I could be there for opening weekend. I woke up early and hit that button right at 7:00 and got boarding group number 1. And the app told me the ride is open. Come on down.
And everything worked out well, and you rode it in happy days.
Yes, I wish that was the end of the story. But too long didn't read. Got sleep deprivation. Got heat stroke. Did not get on Tiana's. So I'm glad I got my one preview ride, and I will make another attempt when it is not 1,000% humidity and 200 degrees out. So my Tiana's attempt was a bust, but I did have a great time going back a couple days later to Fort Wilderness, tying it back to the top of the show with Carly. She and I, along with Matt, our publisher, all got to attend the big media debut for the Cabins at Fort Wilderness Resort, which is the new DVC property. The old log cabins that have been around since, I don't know, the 70s, the 80s, are being torn down and removed and replaced with modern, they look more like tiny homes that but they're big tiny homes. They're very
glamping now.
Yes, this is even above glamping. Like when I think of glamping, I think of like, a nice raised platform with a fancy canvas tent that maybe has air conditioning. But this is nowhere. Like if you don't look out the window and see the trees, you could easily be on a cruise ship suite, or in a nice trailer. They're well done. We have done previous coverage, talked about before, the cabins themselves. We got a tour of them when they were under construction in the warehouse. And they are exactly as they see in the pictures that we've talked about before. Very, very nice, very functional. Murphy bed, some nice Easter eggs. I do wish they had gone with a split bathroom. It sleeps 6 people, but the toilet and the shower are in the same room. And if they'd done a split like they do on the cruise ship bathrooms, that would probably make it easier to get
If you're only
ready
gonna
in
do
the
one
mornings.
bathroom,
Yeah. But if you're a DVC member, I would definitely look into it, because we spent a little time in the cabin, but we spent most of the day just exploring Fort Wilderness. And if you have someone in your family who hates theme parks, stay at Fort Wilderness and leave them behind, and you can go to the Magic Kingdom and they can be happy just riding a golf cart around, which is a lot of fun. And going on a fishing expedition. I caught a giant bass, biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. This big. And enjoying the recreation. We got a tour of the Tri-Circle D Ranch, which is where all the horses that work in the Magic Kingdom and other parks live. It was really a great day. It was warm and it was exhausting, and I came home very full because they kept feeding us. They gave us a big breakfast, they gave us a big lunch, and then just when we were like done, they gave us the strawberry shortcake dessert from Hoopty Doo, which that is a meal in of itself.
I love Fort Wilderness as just, it's a throwback.
Yeah,
and it's now a throwback to a throwback.
Yeah,
it was already like roughing it.
Yeah, in the 70s, it was kind of nostalgic to like the 19th century, and now it's like nostalgic to the 70s.
Yeah.
So I really had a great day. There's a lot to explore. You don't necessarily have to stay on property to take advantage of the lot of the entertainment offerings that they have there.
So like the campfire and stuff.
Yeah, they I believe they still do a campfire, outdoor movies, sing along kind of thing. A lot of great stuff, and it's really hard to imagine like we're out in the middle of the lake catching fish, and like every once in a while you just faintly hear a scream, and the fisherman, our fishing guide, is like, oh yeah, that's Tron. Like it's right on the other side of the trees. Like you could barely see the top of Space Mountain sticking up over these trees, but otherwise it looks like you're in the middle of a Florida swamp, which is amazing. So thank you very much to Disney DVC for hosting us on that visit, and I look forward to someday being able to afford to stay even one night there. If they'd like to send me a stay, I'm interested.
We'll find a way to.
I know there was a long. Carly did get to stay there. She said they were very comfortable. Lots of natural light. She really enjoyed it. That she was one of the chosen few to get to stay overnight. Matt and Jackie did not. So. I'm in good company. So, but I think that just about brings us to the end of catching up. So, without any further ado, let's jump straight into the news in the queue. First up, we have another announcement for a haunted house coming to Halloween Horror Nights in both Florida and California. And if you've been following the speculation maps and the rumors, this was not a huge surprise.
No.
It's another IP. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is coming to Halloween Horror Nights in the form of a haunted house. And this is based on the most recent movie that kind of reunited the reboot cast with the legacy cast. I just rewatched it again. It was on sale, and I was kind of a little lukewarm on it when I saw it in the movie theater because I had very high expectations. With lowered expectations, watching it at home, I liked it quite a bit. So I don't know. Have you seen it? Are you a Ghostbusters fan?
Well, I've got my Ecto one.
You got your Ecto one.
Go. I would say I was thinking about this too. Ghostbusters was never really the touchstone '80s film for me.
Yeah.
I was more of an Indiana Jones kid, Star Wars, the Three Amigos, all sorts, random stuff. So, but I still always liked Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
This though, I think, I was like you said, the speculation. This has not been a huge surprise for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it still kind of leans into what the head creatives at Horror Nights do love their 80s aesthetics.
Yes.
So they want to get that in there somewhere. But,
yeah. And a lot of us have a soft spot for the Ghostbusters Spooktacular. I was a closing employee on that show when it existed. Yeah, no, not the Beetlejuice version. The indoor Pepper's.
Oh yes, where Twister.
The open, yes, where
Twister, 3 or 4
Twister was. It was an opening day attraction at Universal Orlando that was the world's biggest Pepper's Ghost. It was like the ballroom from the Haunted Mansion on steroids, with animatronics who were designed by the I always mispronounce their last name, but the brothers who created the Killer Clowns from Outer Space also designed the ghosts for the Ghostbusters Spectacular. Landmark Entertainment worked on that. And it was my first job when I worked at Universal. And the firehouse facade is still there. I am so hoping that they use that as the entrance to the queue. I don't know if they can with the Rip Ride Rocket going over it, but that would be amazing if they could.
I like it when they can do things like that to expand the story outside of the ride. It was the one where it was zombies that were attacking because their collars got turned off. And when you exit the ride, you see the Mardi Gras float that crashed into the power supply, which is why the house broke down. It's like, I love those kind of connections like that, especially if you have the Ghostbusters firehouse,
Yeah, you got it right there.
It's a little silly. Yeah, you have an Ecto one somewhere.
Well, we know they're going to have an Ecto one starting, as we're recording this, it's going to be tomorrow, the 3rd of July. As part of the Mega Movie Parade. So I'm not sure if we will also see that during Halloween Horror Nights, but I do think we're going to see that as part of the parade. Anyway, if you did not see the new Frozen Empire film, the story of the house is that an ancient artifact has released a chilling new entity named Garaka, and you have to try not to freeze in fear as he freezes people before your eyes. Only the Ghostbusters can stop you from getting iced, and they promise that this will be a cold haunted house. They've done in past years, like they had Cold Blind Terror one year, which was basically just turned off the lights and turned up the AC. It just made you shiver and bump into walls. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more to see. Obviously, they've got great iconic locations like the Ghostbusters Firehouse and the new research lab that they have in the new movie.
That's always the big thing about IP houses, especially, is it can't just be about how much you liked the movie. It's how much you want to go to the places the movie was at and meet the people that were in the movie and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't really tell a story in a conventional narrative form in a haunted house. So you can create locations and you can create characters. Obviously, I don't think that Bill Murray is licensing his likeness. Like, I don't think they're going to have people wearing Bill Murray masks like they had. Remember the one year where they had people with Jack Nicholson foreheads when they had The Shining? We will not see anything like that. So you can't necessarily recreate the characters when they're these famous
Can't even
characters, but you can recreate the locations.
let's say, and you can't even retell the story
Yeah.
because like movies, it doesn't start exciting. It's not exciting
Mhm.
100% of the time all the way through. Same thing with The Shining house.
Mhm.
You can't follow the Shining story because it's all slow, dramatic buildup.
Yeah.
So all these kind of IP things like this, it's about being in the iconic locations because that's for the 5-minute house or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what you got time to see and do, and as you're having the crap scared out of you.
Well, we'll see what it looks like when it opens with Halloween Horror Nights on August 30th, running through November 3rd in Florida, and running September 5th through November 3rd in California. I really liked the last time they did a Ghostbusters house a few years back, so I'm excited for this one. Speaking of Halloween, this is one I did not have on my bingo card. Six Flags has long had a Fright Fest event, but they are stepping it up. They are revamping it into Fright Fest Extreme, and they have surprisingly secured the rights to some really big IPs, some that you will be familiar with if you are a Halloween Horror Nights fan. Somehow Fright Fest Extreme, which happens at Six Flags parks in the United States and Mexico,
presented by Snickers, apparently.
Presented by Snickers, really satisfies. They are ramping up their event with high-profile horror franchises, including several that had previously been part of Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, with all new bases based on Annabelle, Army of the Dead, The Conjuring, DC Comics, The Nun, Saw's 25th anniversary, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Trick and Treat, and the one that really just blew my mind, Stranger Things. Universal has made Stranger Things like not just a house, but like the signature keystone part of their marketing multiple times. And to see that Netflix now has turned to Six Flags, which I as much as I love a good Six Flags park, I don't think anyone can say that they exist on the same tier as Universal.
This is clearly them starting to try it. They want it. They want it. They see what Universal does with their Horror Night stuff, and again, more 80s nostalgia leading the way for themed entertainments.
So the interesting thing is that Six Flags is not just doing this in-house. I think they probably recognize they do not have the in-house capabilities to handle these IPs. Instead, they have turned to a company called RWS Global. And they're not really a household name, but some of the projects they've done are pretty big.
Well, yeah, in our world.
Yeah, if you're a freelancer creative, probably. If you're just a casual theme park fan.
And especially since they're a big part of the acquiring other companies and stuff, they've become a global brand that has just consolidated a lot of things, starting from like cruise ships and stuff.
Yes, they're big on cruise ships. They're known for when you see the holiday overlays like Christmas or Halloween on the high seas on the cruise ships. They're the ones who actually physically come in and install that stuff, not the Imagineers. The Imagineers designed it and they hand it off. They're also they are behind the Hollow Scream events at SeaWorld parks and Busch, and also they do the Christmas events at like Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which I believe has won awards. So they're this is not their first rodeo, but I don't know if they've done Halloween events before, but I don't think they've dealt with IP on this level. So it'll be really interesting to see, especially Stranger Things, which is coming to both Six Flags Great Adventure. And they've never had, East Coast, the Northeast area theme parks. I don't think they've ever had Halloween with IP on that level before. Right. But it'll be really interesting to see Six Flags Magic Mountain because that competes for the exact same audience as Universal.
Right.
They're easy driving distance of each other. So a lot of people, if you've got an annual pass to one, you've got an annual pass to the other. People who are going to Stranger Things at Magic Mountain good chance that they saw Stranger Things at Halloween Horror
Yeah.
Nights. So there will be a direct apples to apples comparison.
But premiere level, escapes of haunts, right near each other, like awesome.
Yep.
That's what that season
Yeah.
is about.
More,
Even if you want to go
more
to Universal every
competition is
single
great.
day, I'm gonna hit a different one every day if you can. And just because we scrolled past him, but I gotta
I'm
say,
sorry.
if they could focus on the Uncanny Valley dancing man that has haunted
you
my
know what?
dreams for the last 30 years.
I was gonna say I still have some unresolved trauma involving this character, but I believe he used to be called Mr. Six originally, the dancing man.
Yeah, that's all.
He was
Because that's
this
just what everyone knew him as.
creepy man with a young body and a very old head, who does extremely energetic dancing to. And there's I'm trying to
Was
remember
it
the name of that
Vengabus? Was
song.
the
Yes,
song?
yeah. A
Vengabus is
very
coming.
yes, a very peppy earworm of a song.
And again, a creepy, uncanny, just the movement not matching the age of the face.
And
like,
this, I mean, if
ugh.
in the in the 90s and the early 2000s, this guy was like huge. He was a big deal. So they have resurrected him for this commercial, at least briefly resurrected him until they kill him off again. So yeah, check out that commercial. We have that linked on our article on our
If
website.
he could be
talking
their
about this.
David Pumpkins, from
Absolutely,
this past year.
100%.
Someone I want to go meet for a second, see their shtick for about 15 seconds, take a
Yeah.
picture, and leave.
And move on. Yeah.
That's what I need.
So, real briefly, I'm going to slide through. We're not going to hit every single one, but Stranger Things in Jersey and Magic Mountain, Trick or Treat also in New Jersey and Magic Mountain, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it looks like it is based on the 2022 reboot, which not all that well received by a lot of folks, but it's still got a chainsaw in it. So that one is just going to be in New Jersey. Army of the Dead, New Jersey and California.
Did you like Army of the Dead?
I watched it once on Netflix, and that was enough for me.
The prequel was better.
Yes, that's the bank robbery one. Or something. Yeah.
Focusing on the locksmith.
Yeah, haven't
safecracker.
Yeah, haven't gotten around to that yet. But Deceased, which I guess is like the DC Comics equivalent of Marvel Zombies, sort of. So it's like evil undead versions of the Justice League. The Conjuring universe in Jersey and California. Saw's 25th anniversary. I can't believe it's been 20 years since I saw the original in the movie theater. Jersey and Magic Mountain. And to top it all off, same time they released this, they also finalized the merger with Cedar Fair. And they replaced the websites, and already all the Cedar Fair Park logos have been replaced with Six Flags style font. So it's kind of obvious who bought who here.
The merger.
But hopefully it will make Six Flags more like Cedar Fair and not turn Knott's into another Six Flags. That's my hope. So all this is coming up this Halloween season at a Six Flags near you.
Love it. More haunts, more better.
Yep. More competition. It's always good. All right. Let us talk about some Disney Cruise Line news. And first of all, the Disney cruise ship that probably neither of us will ever go on has released a bunch of new information. The Disney Adventure, which is what is the former Global Dream, bankrupt cruise ship that Disney bought back in 2022 to transform into their first Asian home-ported cruise ship. It's going to debut in 2025, sailing out of Singapore, and we have an amazingly vague map giving us hints and teases about the attractions and venues that are.
Took me a second to realize it's shaped like a ship.
It is. It's like, it kind of looks like a island, but it is shaped like a ship. And I was trying it at first to figure out if this was related all to the deck plan, like maybe the ones by the bottom of the ship are in the lower decks and the other way. It doesn't, from trying to match the descriptions to the images, make no sense whatsoever. Maybe
No.
roughly like it's showing fore and aft, perhaps, but I like this is I'm taking all this
And
with
and
a
it's
grain
more
of
yeah.
salt like this big.
And it's more likely to be, separated
This
on a horizontal plane instead of a
Yes.
vertical plane. So
Yes.
so much of that still has to be parts of where the ship is
Yeah.
controlled. Or
Well, and some of it said like we've got this little area down here at the very back bottom, but it says in the description that it's open air. So obviously it's probably not, on the lowest deck of the boat. So let's go through
yeah.
some of the venues we're going to find. And when I picture all of these, I'm seeing it's painting a picture for me of a design that is much more like these giant new Royal Caribbean ships than the traditional Disney ship.
It has that like Gaylord Palms, like atrium kind of
Yeah,
feel to it.
yeah. Traditional Disney ships, I love the Disney Magic, that's still my favorite, had a certain flow, a compactness, and sort of an integration of different kind of experiences in, corridors that sort of flowed through.
Mhm.
Whereas this is very much almost a theme park, maybe a hub and
Yeah.
spoke or a land. I believe on the big Royal Caribbean ships, they call them the districts. Um, you know, big sections of the ship that are almost like their own ship in a ship, mini area. So these are some of the areas that are described aboard the ship, starting with Disney Imagination Garden. And this one is called described as an enchanted valley with open air performance venue, inspired by 100 years of heroic and heartwarming Disney adventures. This sounds sort of like the atrium,
It's
a
good. Yeah, it
gateway.
feels
It's
like
got
it's
an yeah,
a hub. It's got
yeah,
that hub kind of
the hub
theme park
feel.
feel to it.
Yes, absolutely. Next up is Discovery Reef. This is themed to underwater characters like the Little Mermaid and Finding Nemo, and it combines shopping and dining in a kind of underwater coral reef environment. I'm picturing like the indoor Mermaid Lagoon at Tokyo Disney Seas, or they've got a similar area at Abu Dhabi,
I wonder
but
how
probably
much.
with lower ceilings though.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I wonder how much is it. It almost feels like this is just what they're calling a
Hmm.
shopping and dining site. Like this will be
Yeah.
effectively, Disney Springs section that is
Hmm.
coral and
Yeah.
the
And like granted, every single cruise ship has like a promenade or something where you've got shops and specialty restaurants. But this sounds like they're trying to integrate the theme of all of that. So looking a little less like a shopping mall and looking a little more like a themed
mhm.
attraction, hopefully. Next up is San Francisco Street, inspired by Big Hero 6. And this is going to have a vibrant street market. I'm thinking maybe quick service, restaurant booths, like Asian style dishes, maybe Asian fusion would be fun.
Well,
Uh,
but it's also specifically calling itself a family entertainment
yeah,
area.
yeah,
So is this gonna
that's
be like a midway style?
that's what I'm thinking. A midway
Yeah.
style interactive games and activities, maybe an arcade, shops, cinemas. So that's interesting. They'll have they always have a movie theater on every Disney cruise ship.
I
So
wonder if they'll hit kind of that almost pseudo cyberpunk kind
hmm
of feel that like Big Hero
yep,
6 has,
yep,
especially if this, like you said, is going to be their Asian based
yeah,
ship, like
yeah.
something like that kind of fits.
And then we've got Wayfinder Bay, which is inspired by Moana, and this is the one that on the map it looks like it's the very bottom of the ship,
Right.
but here it says it's an open air oasis under the sun, with the most stunning views of the sea and sky aboard the ship. A casual yet sophisticated poolside retreat with Pacific Island inspired imagery.
So this is what they're theming their pools around, the
Yep.
pool area with.
Yep. At least one of the pool areas.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that there'll be like, have an adult area, the family area, and probably also a kids splash area like they traditionally have. Town Square is going to be where you're going to meet your Disney Royals. It's dedicated to those who wish upon a star. And it's a forest themed area with more shops, lounges, cafes, restaurants, as well as entertainment venues. Sounds like maybe the main theater will be here. And there's going to be references to films like Tangled, Frozen, and Princess and the Frog. Uh, of course, we've got to have Marvel characters, and Marvel Landing is described as an Avengers level adventure with all new attractions and experiences that showcase imaginative representations of superheroes. In the imagery, we have Avengers Tower, Tony Stark's Cliffside Mansion, and the Guardians of the Galaxy jump ship that we see in front of the Cosmic Rewind. Disney has not done, as far as I know, a virtual reality ride or other theme park style attraction on one of their ships like all the other cruise lines have. So
Well,
this could be a real cool opportunity for that.
so you're definitely seeing amongst these different lands as they're trying to hit a lot of
Hmm.
age groups and a
Yeah.
lot of interest styles. I remember going on one of my first cruises when I was like 16 and had a miserable time because I was too old for the kid stuff and
Kid
too
stuff.
young for the adult
Yeah, you're in
stuff.
this
It
in
was, a,
between. Yeah,
it was
exactly. Yeah.
awful, and that kind of I mean, not miserable, still
Yeah.
cruise, but
Mm.
so things like this, I appreciate that they're trying
Poor
at least.
you.
Yeah, stop! I don't want more ice cream. Yeah, but I like that they're having more variety and different types of offerings. So it's not just the Disney cruise. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
a family experience.
Yeah, this is definitely looks like it is aimed at that teenage demographic that you're talking about, and I'm curious to see what they can do with licensing. Though if a cruise ship docks in, I guess this one will definitely never come to Florida, because they wouldn't be able to dock within 100 miles or east of the
I
Mississippi,
was gonna say
whatever the
everything's
contract with
east of the
Universal.
Mississippi
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, everything's until you hit the international date line, I guess. Next up is Toy Story Place, which will inspire guests to explore, create, and connect in a whimsical interactive playland that also has themed food venues and water play areas. That sounds like that kiddie splash
Mhm.
pad based on Toy Story movies. I'm also guessing maybe the Kids Club will be in this area as well. Um, so this is, as we mentioned, the first time that they are going to be sailing out of Asia when they launch in 2025. They're doing 3 and 4 nights out of the Marina Bay Cruise Center in Singapore.
Mm.
And they're going to be, I'm pretty sure this is a typo. In our article, we say it will be through the year 20,230. I'm thinking it's
Really,
more 2030.
they're
Uh,
very much into that
yes.
long-term
So
planning now at Disney.
5 years at least. And
Five
as
to
we
twenty
said,
thousand years it'll be go.
this is the biggest Disney cruise ship by a huge measure. It's going to have 208,000 gross tons, 6,700 passengers, and about 2,500 crew members. So massive, massive. And it's just
It's a
one
city.
of 3 new cruise ships that are on their way. And speaking of the other new cruise ships that are on their way, we've got more information about the Disney Treasure Ship. That one is one that we will maybe get to experience in our lifetimes because it will be sailing out of America, and it is going to include a new Guardians of the Galaxy dinner show. So on the previous Disney cruise ship, they debuted on the Disney Wish and Avengers Quantum Encounter dinner show that's got Ant-Man and a bunch of other Marvel characters in it. They are going to have that on the Disney Treasure as well. But because the Disney Treasure is going to be doing 7 night sailings, you're going to get to visit that Worlds of Marvel restaurant twice. So, your second time around, you get to experience Marvel's Celebration of Heroes Groot Remix, which means that your dinner will constantly be interrupted by Baby Groot, easily the most annoying and irritating incarnation of Groot. He's cute for the first 5 minutes in the post credit sequence in the first movie, and then quickly gets old in the second movie.
But literally.
Yeah, exactly. So Groot will be constantly interrupting your dinner with an awesome mix of hit songs as well as hijinks and trivia. Are
Your
you
very
looking
neutral
for?
reading of
I'm.
this,
Am I?
definitely.
Am I selling this well? Am I selling it?
That's why we don't let you write the press releases, Seth.
I. Okay. So maybe I'm being a little harsh. I have not experienced the other Marvel dinner show in person. I've
Right.
watched multiple videos and talked to many people who experienced it in person. None of which made me excited for that or this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of kind of gilding the lily. Like it's dinner. Let me
Yeah,
also just eat dinner sometimes. Like I
yeah.
remember the original, Disney Crusoe, like when they're the art of animate, like the whole thing flips to like those moments are cool. Moments
Absolutely.
are cool. You
They're
don't need to.
moments, and they're well-paced, well-timed moments.
I
That's
hope,
that's the
yeah,
difference.
yeah. Hopefully, it's like you go to any like long running dinner theater, in town, especially like they
Having
understand.
worked on several of them.
There's a way to pace out food and whatnot
There's a way
happening.
to do it and a way to not do it.
So hopefully it isn't just like, every, 12 minutes on the timer, boom, here
Right.
comes Groot. Like maybe, plan it out with the meal, or
I I
more
I
interested
think
in getting up and dancing with the kids when they're just eating dessert,
I
like
think
don't.
Disney does know how to do this well, or they have in the past. The animators palette,
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
what
is
it
the name of
was.
the
Yeah.
restaurant on the original ships.
Mm.
The animation show they do, where you draw a placemat and then have that turn into a cartoon, is perfectly timed. The turtle talk with Crush that they do on it is
Mhm.
also very well paced, so that like you get your moment with Crush, but it doesn't take over the entire evening. Like I said, on some of the newer ships, I feel like it has not had the delicacy that some of the earlier ones did.
Yeah.
So hopefully this one will be better. If you want to find out for yourself, MEI Mouse Fan Travel can help you book a trip on that ship and check it out and let us know how it goes. Let us hop from Disney over to Universal. In Universal Studios Hollywood, Super Nintendo World has just debuted a new mini game as part of the Power Up Band activities. And the twist is, for
Mm.
this one, you don't actually have to buy a Power Up Band to play it. Um,
Ooh.
this is my I really like the Mario Kart ride. But my favorite thing in Super Nintendo World in Hollywood, and the thing that I'm looking forward to most and when it comes to Orlando, is all of the interactive games that you can play around the area. And for pretty much all of them, you have to purchase this $40 power up band. It's got an RFID tag that tracks your progress when you go around punching blocks and playing these little games. You had to have a band to play almost all of them. They just added a new one. And while you have to have the band in order to track your score and to claim points in the app, you can actually play this one without the band.
The cynical kind of part of me sees that this is your demo. This
Yes,
is the this
exactly.
is this is the
This
first one
is
that's free.
this is your, "Hey, kids, you wanna
Yeah.
taste? Your first hit's free." That
Yeah.
is
Oh,
exactly
now
what it
imagine
is.
if you could have tracked your score here, and like, oh, that one's
Exactly,
also fun.
exactly. So,
But of
there
course, like I said, more interactives for
yeah,
not having to pay for them extra is
yeah.
always gonna be good.
So the way that you find this if you go into Super Nintendo World, in the back left corner to the left of the entrance of the Mario Kart ride, there's a staircase that takes you upstairs, to the
Good.
glacier area, and there was a room up there that used to be pretty much empty, and now it's got a giant video wall and a punch block. So you punch the block to start it, and then you get one of four power ups. So you can get a fire block, or you can get I think there's a mushroom or an ice flower,
Right
fire
there.
flower, super mushroom, or superstar. So you get one of those power ups, and then you use them to kill the Goombas and the Koopas. I'm sorry, we don't kill things. We just defeat them,
Knock them out.
knock them out, knock them out. So we do that, and if you don't have your band on, you can just do it for fun. If you do have your band on, you don't get one of the keys. It's not a key challenge, so it doesn't contribute towards you doing the Bowser Jr. challenge, but it still does get you a badge and points. So check it out next time you are over there, and also check out our whole video of all of the food, dining, characters, attractions to be found in the land. Can't wait for this to open. Can't wait for this to open here.
Yeah.
Very excited. I am booking a trip right now to Japan for this fall, and I am hoping that Donkey Kong Country is open in September. I'm thinking my odds are probably not in my favor, but I can hope. All right. So that will bring us to the end of our news in the queue. And before we get into this week's main event, it is time to hear a word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
All right.
It's time for the main attraction.
Well, you can file this week's main attraction under Disney Wants to Kill Seth. Because literally within like 24 hours of us putting the final finishing touches, absolutely done, cannot make any more changes to the upcoming 2025 edition of the unofficial guide, Disney announced we are completely renaming Genie. We are changing the rules for Lightning Lane in Walt Disney World. We are throwing out pretty much everything that you know and have gotten used to since we reintroduced the replacement of Fast Pass after the pandemic, just to mess with your head.
Oh, yeah, or as you're calling it, Chapter 2.
Oh my gosh, exactly. This is so. If you have not been to Walt Disney World in a long time, maybe you don't know. Somehow you've never listened to our podcast and heard us moaning and tearing our hair out over it month after month.
Seth, I don't know anything about Genie Plus. This sounds like an amazing deal.
Yes, it sounds wonderful. So here's the too long didn't read. During the pandemic, Disney used that as an excuse to get rid of Fast Pass, which was a very popular system that they had for a long, long time, where you could reserve your spot in line, reserve a time for certain attractions for free. It did cause issues. It did cause stress and people, having to book their trip out. The feeling of, I've got to know what ride I want to ride on what day, 6 months ahead of time. But it was free. It was optional. You didn't have to do it. And for those who did know how to work the system, it could really make a great difference in your day.
Yeah.
Of course, they got rid of all that and replaced it with a system that was much more complicated and required paying actual money. This system has previously been called Genie Plus, not at all to be confused with just plain Genie, which is an artificially unintelligent recommendation system that tells you the most inefficient way to get around the parks and constantly suggests rides to go on that there's no way you would ever want to go on.
They should really stop branding it like that.
Really, yes, it's yeah. I don't. I think, truth in advertising. What can I say? Have you ever actually tried using Genie in a park and following directions?
I've been very fortunate. Last many times I've been to the parks, I've been with attractions or with a media event or something like that. So I've managed to mostly avoid this situation.
Yeah. Genie itself seems mostly designed to confuse and frustrate people who actually listen to its suggestions. But Genie Plus was the name of their paid service that gave you access to Lightning Lane, which was the new name for Fast Pass.
Which
In
was a
fact, you
perfectly
can
fine branding.
first
And
perfectly fine branding, which everyone knew and understood,
let's
and
toss that
you
out the
can
door.
still actually see the shadow of the word "Fast Pass" beneath
Uh,
many of the hastily repainted
I say we
Lightning Lane
just add it to the
labels.
list of downtown Disney and MGM Studios and things I'm
Right.
going to just still call it for the
Still
next
call it
20 years
forever
for no
and ever.
reason.
Yeah. So, anyway, as of July 24th, coming up in just a few weeks, you can forget about all the stuff that I just told you because we are kicking Genie Plus to the curb. And
We've
now
wished to set him free.
we're keeping around Lightning Lane. But now we are calling Genie Plus Lightning Lane Multipass. Apparently, whoever named
She
this
knows
was a big
it's a
fan of the Fifth Element.
Lightning
Uh,
Lane Multipass.
Multipass.
Oh,
Lightning Lane Multipass is the new name for Genie Plus, and Lightning Lane Single Pass is the new name for individual Lightning Lane. So say it 5 times fast. Lightning Lane Multipass, Lightning Lane Single Pass, Lightning Lane Multipass, Lightning Lane.
shit.
I am following my colleague at Unofficial Guides, Becky, suggestion. We are calling it Limp and Simp.
Oh
A
my, oh
Lightning
no.
Lane
Oh,
Multipass is a limp, and a Lightning Lane Single Pass is a simp
that's a lisp.
or a lisp, I guess. A lisp.
Yeah,
It's
none of these acronyms are great.
none of these are all terrible.
I
These are
mean, and having worked at ops as well, I did ops at
mm,
Universal for a
thoughts
bit.
and
Like,
prayers to anyone working on
oh,
ops.
you know what's gonna happen? Like, anyone's just gonna walk out and be like, "Where's the fast pass?" Like,
Yeah,
do you mean the lightning lane? Yes.
and
Do you
just
want the single lightning lane or the multi? Oh my god, just let me on the ride.
okay. Yeah, I actually had a guest the other day when I was at Universal. I was wearing a Universal hat and I had a lanyard on, which makes people think that you
You
are
work
an
here.
employee. And they walked up to me carrying a park map for Disney's Hollywood Studios, asking me, which one is this? Which one? I just pointed at the garage and I said, 20-minute drive that way.
When I worked at Universal, I did get a talking to once for when someone asked me for directions to the Tower of Terror. I gave them directions to the Tower of Terror from in front of
Get on
Shrek.
I-4.
You
Yeah.
want to go back out here? There's your car. You want to go down
Damn
I-4?
it.
Take a
Just send him to Doctor Doom Fearfall next time.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
close enough. So, if we are talking about Disneyland, California, thank the maker that the only change is the name. The only thing that's changing in California is the name. Everything else about it is exactly the same. So you can still pick up my book. And if you just go through my book and you cross out every time you see the word Genie Plus and just write in Lightning Lane Multipass, you'll be fine. However, in Disney World, everything that you know is about to change because we are going back to the future. We are jumping back in time to the days when you had Fast Pass and you could reserve multiple attractions for a day, days in advance. If you are staying on Disney World property, you get to do this 7 days in advance of the start of your trip. Everyone else, day guests and annual pass holders, you get to book these 3 days out. And this is all effective July 24th. So we are going back to the days where you are going to have to plan out. I guess that's better than waking up at 7 a.m. and desperately trying
Yeah,
to do it on your phone at 7 a.m.
yeah. Like you're trying to get theater tickets.
Right.
It's
But the one thing I have not yet seen is exactly what time. If this is a 7 a.m. 3 days or 8 days out, or if this is a midnight 3 days or 8 days out. I don't know. I've seen that in the fact. There is an extensive website. The good look digging through it. It is a lot of information.
I say it seems like such like an unforced error to have, like it's one thing if you have two different systems in your two different parks. I think that's okay because California has long since had different types of things than Orlando has had. But to also call them the same thing,
Yeah.
just invites that much more. Like, hey, I'm from Orlando going to California. Hey, you have Lightning Lane. Cool. Whoa.
It's totally different Lightning Lane. Yeah.
Let's explain our version of
I think they have learned that Disney World pass holders and visitors, you can basically squeeze them until they're dry, and they'll still come back a few years later.
You're stuck on the
Whereas
property.
Disneyland pass holders, if nothing else, are much more vocal and are much more likely to get the attention of national media whenever they don't like something. So they've learned that they can do pretty much whatever they want to people who come to Disney World, but they can't squeeze the Disneyland folks too hard, or else they really holler. So if you are looking forward to a trip to Walt Disney World theme parks after July 24th, listen up, because we are heading back to the land of tiers. Once upon a time, under the Fast Pass system, you could pick one good attraction and then 2 attractions that you probably didn't need Fast Pass for in the first place when doing your original pre-booking. Now we're going back to those tiers. For example, if you are at the Magic Kingdom, you're going to pick one attraction from the group that includes Big Thunder, Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan, Space Mountain, or Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Interesting set for the different
A
tiers.
very interesting set, yes.
I wonder if some of that has to do with the amount of time you're on the ride, how much queue space they have.
Yeah,
you're trying to play with the capacity.
Popularity and capacity, I think, are the 2 biggest things. We have seen, especially since Splash Mountain has been down, consistently the 2 hardest Genie Plus Lightning Lanes to get are Jungle Cruise and Peter Pan. And often Jungle Cruise is even tougher than Peter Pan, which is surprising because Jungle Cruise was designed to be one of the highest capacity attractions in the park. Capacity on Jungle Cruise is not nearly what it used to be back in the 80s or the 90s because of loading procedures and accessibility. And Peter Pan has always been a super low capacity ride.
For one of the more popular IPs of the dark rides that they have sitting there.
And Big Thunder, I almost think Big Thunder might be in that tier because it's sitting right next to Tiana's, and they get a lot of spillover from it.
I would say that was the main one. Explaining the other ones makes a lot of sense. Big Thunder is definitely the outlier there. To not have that be Haunted Mansion or Pirates. Those seem like the big ones. Maybe it's just then that's a capacity question, of how many people can you get on Pirates at the same time.
Yeah.
Versus one train or 2 trains or whatever for Big Thunder.
Yeah, those rides that you mentioned, Pirates, Haunted Mansion, Monsters Inc., Little Mermaid, all of your second and third tier rides, Winnie the Pooh, these are all in the lower tier, so you can pick 2 from them. And then, so you've got 3 booked ahead of time. After you use one of them, and it can be one from the top tier or the lower tiers, then you can pick again. And I believe you can pick any tier. So let's say you picked a Tiana's, a Haunted Mansion, and a Pirates. And you go into the park and you use the Pirates one first. I believe then you could go and book a Space Mountain after that. I think all of the other old rules apply. The 2-hour rules, the multi-experience. I think those are all still going to apply.
So stand by for all the tips and tricks videos. For
and there's and we're probably going to have to redo all of those videos and all those tips and tricks. If you've got Park Hopper, your first 3 that you pre-book all have to be from the same park. But once you use one, then you can pick in any other park, and you can also modify.
It just seems needlessly complicated.
So here is the interesting twist. If we carefully compare the list of attractions that were under Lightning Lane and then under this new system, what do we see is missing is meet and greets. All of the character meet and greets that were previously available, such as meeting Olaf, the new Mickey and Minnie and Friends in Epcot. Those are no longer listed as eligible attractions. So, are
But they
we
still have shows
returning?
and stuff on these, which is interesting.
Yes, but not. They have some shows like the First Time in Forever sing along,
Well, Indiana
but we
Jones,
know
they're Beauty and the
Indiana
Beast.
Jones. But we don't have the nighttime spectacular. They used to have the for fireworks. They don't have Fantasmic on here. They don't have the parade, Fantasy of Festival of Fantasy and Magic Kingdom for a while had it. So it looks like those kind of outdoor performances and like I said, the meet and greets have lost it.
But they're still reserving some of the big tickets for a separate single pass.
Correct. So what used to be called Lightning Lane, individual Lightning Lane, is now Lightning Lane Single Pass, and that still includes Guardians of the Galaxy. That includes Rise of the Resistance. Over
Tron.
at Animal Kingdom, you've got Avatar: Flight of Passage. Yep, and Tron and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
It's fascinating that it's not Tiana's,
isn't it? So here is my thought with Tiana's. With single pass attractions, when a single pass attraction goes down and stays down, you have to refund the money for that person.
Yeah.
If a multi-pass or an old Genie Plus attraction goes down, you just get a multiple experience pass that can be used on anything else. And if that particular ride doesn't come back, it does not necessitate a refund of the entire multi-pass. So I believe
kind of
this
its feet underneath it. So
this is them saying, one, we want to encourage people to buy the multi-pass. Because someone might be like, well, I'll just buy a single for Tiana's and I don't care about the rest of the park.
Right.
This way they got to buy the multi-pass, which costs more than the single passes. And it also means that if Tiana's goes down, which, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Tiana's goes down, they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Not their problem.
It is a new attraction. God bless it.
So there is a lot of information on the website, Disney's website, about how all of this is going to work. One thing that has been very frustrating, point of contention, everyone is going to be able to do this 3 days out. But I have been hearing that folks who are from out of the country, people from Canada and the UK, who are booking are not going to be able to book until they are inside the country. There's a lot of conflicting information about this on social media. I've seen various screenshots of responses from Disney's guest services that conflict the information. And I don't think that they have put out an official statement that I have seen to confirm exactly what's going on. But I would say that if you are coming from Canada or the UK, contact your travel agent to discuss what this means for you. It would be a shame if they do make things, take away.
I had one
privileges.
more weird difference between one more thing you have to
one more weird
have
thing.
a flow chart to understand.
Yeah. But for now, if you are planning a trip on or after the 24th, I actually have some friends who are doing a trip that's split. Like they're going to be here before and after. So that should be very interesting. You're going to go into your Disney Experience app, and either 3 days or 7 days beforehand, you're going to be eligible to make these first 3 selections. My tip is make your selections as soon as you possibly can, but then keep checking in. You can modify them. So get what you can as soon as you can, and then keep checking back to see if you can improve your selections.
Give yourself a minimum in place.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't if you don't like what you see, don't get nothing. It's better off to get it and then change it. That's my tip. So all of this is very exciting and terrifying and frustrating. Special thoughts and prayers to my colleagues who work on Walt Disney World book because
and all
Big oof.
frontline cast members.
Yeah,
Who are
for
gonna have
having to
to
explain this stuff.
and point
Boy.
out how to use an app on someone's phone as
Good luck. Good luck. So before we wrap this thing up, we're going to take a look back at some of the comments that we got while we were chatting today. Rosie Mayer checked in to say they loved Disney all their life growing up as a kid. I know the feeling. Cindy Bingham saying hello to everyone. Hello.
Hey.
Um, I'm so sorry to hear that Mr. Fulton Raz got hit by a car. I hope you heal up. Glad it's just a sprain and a bruise and not something worse. So heal up quick. Ariel dropped in to say, did someone say Little Mermaid? Yes,
They
you might
were
have
made,
mentioned.
she appears.
And finally, Michael Bingham gets the last word. He never truly understood Genie Plus, and he's glad that we're getting something closer to the old Fast Pass with the pre-booking. I will say that it will be nice to know as an annual pass holder. I'll know 3 days ahead of time whether to bother canceling my reservation or not. You know, if I can get something good, great. If I can't, there's always another day. Right?
Well, just wait for the next iteration when they go back to the retro. Now it'll be the paper passes you can get at the front of each attraction.
I still have, you know what? I still have a collection. I have my last one ever for Indiana Jones in California and a few other of my favorite rides. Yeah, the day where you could pull one of them and just hand it to someone, you make some kid so happy because you weren't going to use yours. Yep, you were leaving. Missed those days. All right. Well, before we go, we want to thank our sponsor, MEI and MEI-Travel once more. I want to remind all of you to please give us a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and a like and subscribe here on YouTube. Finally, please follow us at attractionsmagazine.com. Search for Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media platform. Andy, where can everyone find you on the socials?
Well, definitely Instagram at Bindi Brains. It's like Andy Haynes, but Bindi Brains.
And I am at S. Kuberski and at The Unofficial Guides, or hop on over to the unofficialguides.com where you can pick up copies of my books.
And to see what Genie Plus used to be like.
Don't get me started. We do maintain on that website full updates with all the changes and corrections for the books as well. Hey, it's Disney is a moving target. As soon as you think you got it down, they change it, right? Until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you again next time.
See you later.
Bye-bye.